Members of the body, you've heard the various statutes, the very cords that are supposed to bind the treasurer to do his duty that he has failed in. The finances of our state are vitally important, that we must have accurate records. And if he had just followed just one of those statutes, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be here today. I just checked, and right now, on the books of the Treasury, right now, there is $1,852,455,573.29 of errors that are mixed in with the cash and cash investments that do not exist. But you have to put the fake money in to make the system balance with the real money. Mixing in fake money and real money is not what our treasurer ought to be doing. We should be talking about real dollars. When I was about 8 years old, I was enrolled in the junior Sunday school class of the First Baptist Church in St. Stephen. That's where I first learned about the Ten Commandments. I remember my grandfather's lessons on the 9th commandment found in Exodus. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And those lessons have stuck with me throughout my life. Bearing false witness goes beyond intentional lying. It also includes gossip, malicious slander, misdirection, blame shifting, obfuscation, and deception. Bearing false witness is all about saying and doing things in an attempt to make somebody believe something that is not true. Treasurer Loftis is really good at that. While there are many, many examples of false and misleading communications in the time of interest, I'm just going to hit a few of them. Treasurer Loftis likes to say that the Comptroller General Gaines is responsible for the $1.8 billion in errors in the Treasury books. Never mind the fact that Brian Gaines did not become Comptroller General until 2023. And the origins of the $1.8 billion problem began under the Treasurer's watch in 2012. In sworn testimony before the subcommittee, Treasurer Loftis said, quote, "The Senate is trying to get their fingers on the $54 billion I'm protecting." What the Treasurer knows, but most of the public may not know, is that every tax dollar held in trust by the Treasurer is done so by the authority of an act adopted by the legislature. In other words, every tax dollar entrusted to Treasurer Loftis is put there in his care by actions of the legislature. In a recent Post and Courier opinion piece, Treasurer Loftis writes, "This group of senators sees the state treasury as a gold mine, and they're itching to get their hands on it." He goes on to say that senators are plotting to raid the Treasury for their own benefit. This statement is ridiculous beyond belief. False and inflammatory statements like that erode the confidence in representative democracy and undermine the principles of constitutional authority. And y'all probably had some text messages over the last week or so. I know I have. And through mass text messaging paid for by Loftis for Treasurer, there are some people in this state right now that believe we're here today to remove conservative judges. Does anyone in their right mind think we're here today removing conservative judges? Don't put our conservative judges at risk. Support Curtis Loftis, the messages say. Again, Treasurer Loftis is a false witness sending out deceiving messages to fool the public into believing things that aren't true. The Treasurer of South Carolina should never be making deceptive public statements. Credibility and trust are essential. The Treasurer of South Carolina should be courageous, honest, and honorable. The Treasurer should be someone who leads with integrity instead of hiding behind a campaign of deception, blame shifting, and dishonesty. We're here today under extraordinary circumstances to fulfill our constitutional duty because that man has failed in his duty. Up there on the wall by the exit sign is Senator Swales. Senator Swales held the podium 150 years ago under similar circumstances. In the Journal of March 12th, he writes, the framers of the Constitution have provided that where 2/3 of both houses of the General Assembly find in the official character of such an officer sufficient evidence of his incompetency or his unfitness for the discharge of his duties, and where they believe that the interest and character of the state are endangered by his continuation in office, it shall be their duty to declare and require his removal. After today's hearing, I am confident that you will understand Treasurer Loftis's incompetency and unfitness to discharge the duties, and that it is your duty to require his removal.